Hello. Welcome back. Wednesday, January 11th, 111. Here with Coding Curricula, doing some curriculum. This Microsoft Web Dev for Beginners curriculum that we've been working on now for a couple weeks, or a week and a half. We're at a week and a half, nearing a couple weeks. And we have a few weeks ahead of us before we get all 24 lessons in. Today's January 11th, so we'll be doing lesson 7 of this curriculum. Yesterday was conditional statements, making decisions, and today will be array and loops. Let me go ahead and open up that tab over here. But before we go any further, let's go ahead and update some logs and let some people get in here. That way we're on the same page and know what we will be doing and have been doing so far. So yesterday was the 10th, and we did those making decisions, conditional statements. Yeah, we'll cut that out because we also call that right here. And today we want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, subheading, January 11th, lesson 07. What they call that? Arrays and loops. They weren't so clever with it. Arrays and loops. And with these arrays and loops, we gonna start by updating logs. That's what we're doing now. And then we'll do our arrays and loops lecture. You know, thank you, Microsoft. I appreciate the materials. We all do. I wish I could zoom in on this. There's a thank and a gripe, the slap and tickle. Let me send that out. Done. And say, hey, thanks for being here to everybody. Arrays, loops, lecture, and then after that, then we want to update our homepage. And what do we want to do with the homepage? We want to add those font awesome icons. I thought that React Bootstrap came with some. I guess I was wrong. So we're going to import font awesome and use a few icons from there. We'll also add some lorem ipsum text with Emmet. I'll show you that abbreviation. And what else do we want to do? We also want to clean up the hero section. And what do I mean by that? I think we need to use a single image because we don't have one great image yet, much less 3. And use a single image, and then also style it with a hero button where we get that call to action. And we'll see how far we get on this. I can't imagine we get it all done in 30 minutes or less. That'd be awesome. But yeah, that's the plan. We've spent just a few minutes catching up on what we've done in the past so far. This week has been all about basic JavaScript functions and methods and conditionals. And I think we end basic JavaScript today with arrays and loops. And we do that 30 minutes of each lesson, and then the back end of each lesson is updating our homepage. Right now, it looks like this, and we added these sections last time, and we cleaned up this. I think this is the best looking page still, which is why I opened with it. It's still deployed, and everything works. It's live, but we want to do something about this, because that's a little obnoxious. It looks good on mobile, or looks suitable on mobile. This would be good once we add the icons, and we're doing mobile first design, but it would just simplify the project, which is where we're at. We don't need this level of complexity yet until we found some good styles for the web page, until we've maybe even come up with a UI UX plan. That being said, that's what we've done in the past. Let's go ahead and save these commits, update logs, and then commit and push. Done. See what happens if we toggle back to .com. And boom. And did it lesson itineraries? Did it update our logs? Yeah. Okay. Pretty cool. Our lesson today, arrays and loops. Let's make our infographic as big as possible without losing anything. Can we click on it? Would that help? That doesn't help per se. Not even on mobile, so we don't want all that. We'll settle with this. So, array of ice cream. That sounds nice. What would an array of ice cream look like? I guess back up. Start over here. JavaScript basics of arrays. We've described whenever we talked about our data types earlier in the lesson. I think it began in earlier in these lessons. I think in lesson 2 or lesson 2 was basic data types and variables, and lesson 3 was maybe accessibility. And we said arrays. You know, there's booleans, there's strings, there's numbers, there's arrays, and then there's objects, and then that's it. Everything else gets kind of crazy from there. An array is a basic type, but it's kind of not. I mean, because so many things are serialized in arrays, and they can be so much more. Like an ice cream itself has cones, and the ice cream itself and maybe some sprinkles. Same way that an array can be serialized and things held like that. So it's like not as complex, I guess, as objects, because objects get very wild with everything in the key value pairs, while the definition of an array requires that 0, 1, 2, 3 serialized format. And that is important. Like, let's look at this where let the flavors. So chocolate would be 0 in position 0, which is the first one. Strawberry, 1, second position. Vanilla, third position. Is actually number 2, and then pistachio, fourth position, is actually number 3. Everything in an array starts with 0, and as far as I can tell, nobody's ever gone out of their way to try to maybe make that different or change it. And if you invoke them, like at this point where you use the let keyword for a variable, and you gave the variable a name of flavors, you would call flavors 2, which would be vanilla. And you could assign 1 to 4, because this only runs 0 through 3. So if you gave it the array name, use the hard brackets, which is what signifies the array, pass in 4, then call it Rocky Road. Then if you invoked it and console logged that out, of course it would say Rocky Road, because it's mutable. And flavors 4, yeah, again, it's mutable. You could overwrite that and make it butter pecan, from Rocky Road to butter pecan, or replace it again with strawberry, vanilla, anything you want. Yeah, all pretty straightforward, and we'll demonstrate this whenever we open up our IDE here in a moment. That's the array, and the array would be an enormous headache if it weren't for looping through them. The loop, right? The loop is so powerful, because you can programmatically, out of the box, the for loop is something I've seen in every programming language I've ever touched. I'd like to see a programming language without a for loop, where you run through and let I, you instantiate a variable right there, call I, and begin with 0, 0 aligning for the first position of the array at the very beginning. And then so long as I is less than the length of the flavors array, so it's going to run through that, it's going to move in a positive fashion, plus, 0 plus is going through 1 each time. Right? And then it would console log out the flavors of I as I increments and increases. Each and every time it runs through, it prints out each flavor after each iteration. And so that's super important whenever you call something, you've done a fetch request, and it's something like you get back an object like data. Whenever you first get it, it's probably going to be serialized in an array. It's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know if you hit the JSON placeholders API, it's certainly like that, where your to-dos and your users and all of those other bits of data. They come at you beginning in an array, beginning at 0 and running to 200. So you run the for loop, and that's how you get all of the data a little bit at a time, or you can use functions and methods to sort and index and filter. There's also a while loop, and while loops run so long as a condition is true. They're like a for loop, but, with a twist, right? The loop will stop when the condition is met. So as soon as I is less than, or yes, whenever I is less than the length of flavors, so long as I is less than the length of flavors, then it will continue to console log out these flavors. But the moment that I becomes equal to the flavor length, it'll stop, and it shouldn't go to where it's greater than. It would have stopped before that. And we're incrementing here. We're calling I++. So you have all the same anatomy. I mean, let I equal 0, let I equal 0. I less than flavor length, I less than flavor length, and I increment plus plus, I increment plus plus. Both, yeah, same bits, just different ways to write it. Cool. Fun infographic, so much better than making slides, I think. Let's take our pre-lecture quiz. To refer to a specific item in an array, you would use square bracket, yeah. Index. I don't know what that means. And curly braces are for objects. So to refer to a specific item in an array, then yeah, we would use square brackets. Boom. No, index. We would call an index of the array. Okay. These questions sometimes. How do you get the number of items in an array? The length property. I know it's a length property. The property size. I don't know if that's one. And the len array method. I don't think that one is one either. And I don't think they would put two fake answers in here. But that's good because they trip me up and they scare me. But we'll try the length property on the array. Good. All right. We call the array, and then we say how much length do we have to it. In JavaScript, indexes start at, oh, that's what it means by index, because it comes automatically indexed. Start at 0. Okay, not 1, not 2. Sorry, I didn't know how to stretch that one out any further. Good. We passed our pre-lecture quiz. Basics of JavaScript, creating arrays, looping through them. We're going to do all of that together here in a moment. We've got maybe 5 minutes to talk about this stuff and then 10 minutes to maybe demonstrate it. So arrays, it's a very common task for any language. I'm glad they backed me up on that. Let's zoom in a little bit. Common task for any language, much easier task when the data is organized in a structural format. And yeah, like data architecture is its own thing. Data science, how to best do it. Whenever you're learning full stack web development, just Google it. Like, I mean, you can say, how do I, or ask the AI gods, like, how do I best format my data for an e-commerce website or for a blog? Arrays are all around us. Usually everything will be serialized in an array, but there's also other ways. You don't want to give full access to it. I don't think we're going to get into cybersecurity stuff whenever we're in this Microsoft course, but we have courses in the future that we plan on doing where we're talking about hashing and salting passwords. But whenever you're trying to log in, you don't download every single user that's available on the entire platform just to find you and verify your credentials. That'd be a huge violation of security. So there's a way to work through the databases and get that specifically. And it all begins with these square brackets. Yeah. This is an empty array, but arrays can be declared already populated with data. We've already seen that example in the above with ice cream. They're assigned unique values called the index. Yeah, I always just say the array value. I'll say array index for the rest of my life. Does it surprise you that arrays start with a 0 index? I don't know about surprise. I think my first programming language was C++, and they also started with 0. But JavaScript is compiled in C++. It's object-oriented. In some programming languages, index start at 1. I'm not familiar with which ones. Read on Wikipedia. 0 base numbering. Science, other fields. I don't know. Nothing's popping out at me. I think Python's still 0 based. So if you've got JavaScript and Python and C++ in there, then I'd say most the important ones are 0 based. So just kind of get used to it, right? It makes sense, you know, from a data perspective. You have to start with more sense than 1, right? I mean, they do that in Korea. I think they recently reversed that. Like the moment you come into the world, you were already 1 year old, and that's a little silly, you know, because the rest of the world, you come into the world and you're an infant, you're a baby until you turn 1 year old, and then hey, that's a 1 year old. But yeah, look it up. More common way, you can insert values by calling the index number of the array and using the assignment operator and passing in like a string or some value. A more common way is to push it using array push. So we need to run through all of the array methods. Push, pop, slice. See if it goes through these. I don't think it'll go through all of them, but we'll work through all of them together just to say we did a good job. Loops, and then the for loop, and we've got the for while loop. Loop requires 3 parts to iterate the counter. It's a variable typically initialized with a number, so your counter is initialized right here where you have a bit of data normally called I. It starts with 0 whenever we're working with arrays, but this could be a dynamic value, of course, if you want to pass in some curly brackets and make it dynamic and some sort of value inside of a function. You can absolutely do that. And then from there, this could be something else. At this point, you could say let J or H or K or C or anything you want be this until it's also this, less than this. Again, dynamic numbers. That's the condition that we're trying to meet. This condition is the expression that uses the comparison operator. And then finally, the iteration expression, typically used to change the counter value. So like let I equal, we'll experiment with this. If it's just I plus plus, we know that moves it forward. I plus, what does that do? And we just call I, does it do the same thing over and over again? And will my computer lock up and the stream break down? I don't know. That's certainly a possibility though. So tune in for that. I don't know. The while loop, again, these things can run forever if some condition isn't met properly. And there's some really funny stories about, you know, startups having crazy crazy cloud computing instance fees because there was some while loop something running through processing data that didn't necessarily need to run all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So yeah, be careful about being sure that you declare the condition and it is trying to be met. I think if you just waltzed in here and said let I, so long as it was less than 10, continue a console log, I think that would run forever until it froze up your computer. So why would you choose a for loop versus a while loop? Good question. Let's ask the chat gods. Chat. This will give us an excellent answer. Better than 17,000 viewers had on Stack Overflow. Why would you choose a for loop versus a while loop? I think everybody's using it. We'll give it a minute to work on that. I think Coding Garden CJ said their ChatGPT was frozen on them yesterday too. So yeah, we all got the same idea. Loops and arrays. Here's a combination of the two, where we have our ice cream flavors, chocolate, strawberry, vanilla, and then you're logging it out incrementally as it runs through I. Okay. Let's do some coding challenges. Let's do some code. We don't want that. We actually want our web dev for beginners. Week 2. Say day 3, JS. And we're doing some loops, or we're doing arrays and loops. So here, let's see what we got. We'll flop these because we've already read this. There. ChatGPT. It answered us. Thank you, ChatGPT. We appreciate it. A loop is typically used for when the numbers of iteration that a loop need to perform is known before the loop starts, while a while loop is used when the number of iterations is not known before the loop starts. I guess that makes sense because of scope. When you need to repeatedly execute a block of code as long as a certain condition is true. So you would use a for loop when you have a fixed number of iterations, and a while loop when you have a variable number of iterations or a condition controlled loop. Interesting, because I know I'm guilty of passing in dynamic values into my for loops, when I guess I should have been using while. Home. Oop. We need to zoom in, don't we? Close that off. Oh. Save all of this coding gold. No, cancel. Don't do that. Okay, now. Thank you. Arrays and loops. So let's make our own array. So let's say array example, types of cars. So we could say something like let cars plural equal where is my autofill? There we go. Types of cars. And now we have an array because we use the hard brackets. And then we could, let's log it out where we console log cars. That would give us like 4. And we've got also console log. And something important to do sometime, or something important to do all the time if you're going to be using this console log. So length of array. You can pass the first value as some notes, and then the second value is what you actually want to render on the screen. So we'll say first car in array. Then we save that, and we need to navigate into this. So we would cd lesson itineraries, good. Cd week 2, and then node day 3. Yeah. Okay. Clear that. Cool. So yeah, we've made an array of some cars, and we've iterated through it. Very important stuff to understand. Oh, now what else can we do with this? We've shown you the length. Now we'll set up a for. Okay, now we want to iterate for here. Yeah, so loop through array and log each car. Yeah. All the conditions we just described were here. It's our counter, our condition, and the iteration expression. And now this is going to be fun. Let's play with this. And then it should run all of these. Yeah. First car in array, forward. Let's put another one of these where we say, hey, and we console log the last car in the array. It read my mind. Console log last car in the array, and it's doing it programmatically here. That's awesome. Where it's calling cars, and then it's using the hard brackets where it knows that it's giving that data type. Then cars length, which in this case right now is 4, but if we added another one, then it would take away from that, or I'm sorry, make it longer. If we took one away, same thing, and make it shorter. -1, because that's important. It's calling this as a whole number for whenever, remember, these are 0 based. They're all index based of 0. So we need to console log that last one. Let's check that. Last car in the array, Toyota. First card, Ford. Cool. Now let's experiment with this. What happens if we have just 1+? It's throwing an error. It doesn't like that at all. It won't run. Unexpected token. What about no plus? That works. What's it log though for us? Just Ford. Oh, it's not going to stop. It's just going to keep going. I need to kill that. Okay. Let's try that again where we navigate into, what do we say, lesson, and then week, and then node day 3. Oh, can we stop it? Okay, we can stop it. Let's stop. That's good. Or would have kept going. So yeah, increment that. Important. And then if we start on 1, what happens if we start on 1? Then it's going to start with the index base of 1, right? So node 3. It left off the Ford. Because it starts here. And then similarly, I mean, I guess you could say here, you could say you start off the first position, but you want to move it forward 1. Because this is a conditional. Same thing. Oh, well, no. So what happened here is it logged the Ford. It did the very first one in the array. And then it did the Chevy. And then it did the Honda. And it left off the Toyota. Because this is so long as this is less than the car length. What happens if you take this car length and do +1, save, undefined? Because you loop through the full thing, the Ford, Chevy, Honda, Toyota, and even the last car, Toyota, but we moved it forward here. Okay. All right, and let's not do that. Let's demonstrate a while loop. While loop for dynamic data. So let I equal 0. And that's okay because it's outside the scope. These are functional, or these are block scope. So this I is different than that I. And so while I is less than the length of cars, and you increment it. Okay. Let's make another array. Well, we don't want cars. We want, I don't know, let professions doctor, what else? Come on, AI, you can do this. Lawyer, I saw a teacher. What else? Oh, there we go. There we go. Thank you, AI. I knew you wouldn't let me down. So now we have a much longer array, and we can similarly say, hey, professions here. Node, web3, undefined, undefined. And then we also need to professions here. There we go. And what happens if we plus plus plus? It doesn't like that. What about plus 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 plus? Doesn't like any of that. But that's a good question. What else can you use besides just incrementing these and having it loop for itself? How dynamic can they get? How dynamic can it get before it breaks down? All right. Well, we've made a couple of different arrays. We've done their length, their indexes, some for loops, and a while loop. So let's try. Did we already do our post-lecture quiz? I believe so. No, we haven't done a post-lecture quiz. Let's do a post-lecture quiz. Good time for that. Let's look at what we got first. There are other ways of looping over arrays. Yeah. For each, for of, and map. You will use these quite often, but don't do it so much until you really understand what's happening under the hood. You know, starting to use these is kind of like jumping straight to React whenever you don't necessarily have a great understanding of the JavaScript, the HTML, and all of the things that go into it and make React work. So until you have a really good understanding of these for while loops, jumping into the for each, for of, and the map, probably not so much of a good idea. Okay, let's take our post-lecture quiz, see how we do. What part of a for loop would you need to modify to increment its iteration by 5? What part of the for loop, and there's 4 parts, the condition, the counter, and the iteration expression. It starts with counter, conditions in the middle, and iteration expression. So what part of the loop would you need to modify to increment its iteration by 5? It has the word increment and iteration. So I want to say iteration expression, to increment its iteration expression. So it's saying to where it's iterating on every 5th thing, like we would console log. Here, let's look at this. Let's try to program it out. Where we console log plus 5, where it would only log every 5th thing. Save. You get a doctor a whole lot. You don't want that. Doctor, 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 doctor. Yeah, so I want it to be the counter then. Like, you would start with the counter. Okay, iteration expression. The words were in there. But I felt like you would just jump to the 5th thing in the array, the 5th index. What's the difference between a while and a for loop? A for loop has a counter and iteration expression, where while only has a condition. A while has a counter and an iteration expression, where a for loop only has a condition. They're the same, just an alias for one another. I'm leaning towards that one because we noticed these. I mean, there's differences. The Chat GPT told us some differences and said, hey, they're different this way. But we saw at this level, we saw the bits, and they have the same anatomy. So they're the same, just an alias for one another. Okay. It's the first one. Whatever. Given the code for let equals 1, so we're skipping the first one in the array. So long as I is less than 5, I continues to move forward. How many iterations will it perform? So if it had started at 0, it would have done 5 iterations. But since it's starting at 1, it's doing 4 iterations. Okay. We got that one. All right. Good job. Web development. Hello. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Wednesday. We've finished our quiz, our post-lecture quiz on on arrays and for loops and while loops and arrays, and put them together. That's about it for this section. What else have we got? Review and self-study. Read up on these methods. What methods? Probably map and for each. Yeah. The MDN docs, always amazing. Or how about this assignment? What's the assignment? Create a program that lists every third number between 1 and 20 and prints it in the console. Let's just ask the AI gods to do that for us. What do you say? So we'll say create or home. Create, just list every third number between 1 and 20 and print it. And log the console. There we go. Yeah, because it uses the modulus operator like you would use with some FizzBuzz, where for your condition is not the first one. Although, why wouldn't you start with 0 on that one? I guess to say, I don't think it'd make a difference here. Let's say, hey, plus plus, and actually just go ahead and zonk these out, zombify these expressions for now and see what this console logs day 3. So it does it. That's good. But if we start at 0, I don't think it makes any difference, except maybe it'll console log 0. No. Yeah, that's what happened. And we want every third number. So to avoid every third number, then here, move this up. But if you start at 1, wait, clear, and then come down here and change this to 1, save code day 3. Yeah, that's the only difference. That's clever. That's smart because you don't necessarily want the 1 if you're logging every third number. So cool. That's our homework. Good job. Let's uncomment this. Uncomment that. All of it's good code for examples later on. Say hi in the chat. Nice to hear from you out there. And if you want to catch any of these lessons, anything, if you're worried that you might have missed something, I post them all on my YouTube channel every day that you can find at, codingcurricula.com. So let's work on the website because we got a lot to do. Let's push these changes real quick. So create day 3, boom, boom. Toggle this, or push to origin. Close that. All right. Now we want to fix. We got a few things we want to fix. First thing we want to fix is let's get some font awesome in here. So, because we're gonna want some fonts. React font awesome icons. Get started. npm install. I mean, should we just use them all? Let's see what we get. Paste. Boom. Put them all in there. They're icons. Okay. And then now that we've got icons loaded, then we're going to want to pull up our icon section. And in our icon section, let's look up one for technology, so code. Right here. Which one do we want? We want icons. Code. Be sure to filter for free ones. This ought to be free, right? For React. Copied. It says the snippet's copied. Yeah. And then we just need to import font awesome icon. Container row. Wait, did it do it? Yeah. Try that. So that easy. npm start. And we should have a picture of some code right above the word technology, if we've done this correctly. Put that back for now. Nope. Where is my icon? FA solid code. Inspect. Didn't even render it. Okay. So Fort Awesome from Font Awesome React. Let's look at the docs. Docs. desktop API on website. Start with the kit. Use npm package. Free. Set up npm token for a specific project. I need a token. Pro package. No, it looks like only on Pro. Okay. Why? Set up npm token for all projects. It shouldn't be this hard. Host yourself. What about just React? Upgrade from version 4. Use a kit. Get started. See? Icon. Thought that was going to be easier, but you heard my tone whenever I said, was it that easy? And no, it wasn't. So font awesome icon. I'm going to have to debug this later on, but once I get it, we'll follow that up in the very next lesson tomorrow, because it shouldn't be this complicated. We can get it, though. We can get it. What's next on our to-do list? Add some lorem ipsum. We can absolutely do that. Where this one, we want to say, hey, no, this is going to be like an H2, and put this under the technology, and then here we can have, if you didn't know this trick, it's really cool. Actually, do we want to put all this in a div? No. Maybe put in a card. Anyways, yeah, so if you type lorem, no, lorem 50, I guess not in React, okay. Then give me, 50 characters of lorem ipsum, I guess. Dummy text generator, that's good. Here, I just need a little bit like that. Some lorem ipsum right here to fill everything out and let the kind of the styling do itself. And then here, actually go ahead and just copy and paste all that. Copy and put that in here. Remember, learning and community. Put it before we forget. Learning and community. Okay, and then save. But we've got to clean this up a little bit. Okay, save lorem ipsum. Put this on next row. How's it look now? That's not it. Which one is it? 3000. Okay. It's filling out a little bit. What about mobile first? Very mobile. Okay. It looks a little more like a web page now. I mean, it doesn't have anything valuable to it, but it has something, right? Let's go ahead and try a little bit of different ipsum each time. Not like it really matters, but to show the world that we tried. And then take this little snippet here. Oop. Boom. What do we look like now? Community learning. And if we just had some icons above there, I would be thrilled. That would be that'd be awesome. But they're not showing up yet. Still though, it's filling out. It's a little bit better. Okay. Font awesome icon. Oh, where art thou? Maybe if we put a div or here. Inside of there. No. It's self-closing. I don't know. We're going to have to troubleshoot that. Look at the docs. Here, let's ask ChatGPT. See if it can do it. Please give me a React component with 3 font awesome icons. Thank you. Smiley face. Be nice about it. Oh no. It's overworked right now. Wants me to log back in. Ask again. For loop, while loop, boom. Oh, it didn't import. Well, was I supposed to do that part? FA user. Because it's one of the props. Thought we were invoking. Let's see what happens. Because we've got this there. Copy that. Okay. And then we'll say icon. Save. Hey. Okay. Okay. FA computer. Is that one? FA computer. Thank you. Font awesome. Or thank you, ChatGPT and Font awesome. I just learned something. Cool. Okay. Let's go back to the font awesome. We want a for learning. I don't know. What do we want? Like a open book icon. Font awesome. What is it? What is it from React? From React, they say FA book open. FA book open. Okay. And what about font awesome for community? Community icon. No, we want a community icon. Users. There we go. FA users. FA users. Okay. Cool. So let's copy that. Paste that. And paste that. Where it's no longer computer, but book and users. FA book and FA users. Save. And what do we got? All right. Groovy Bears. Now, how do we make that bigger? Okay. And this is where we'd make it a card. Well, no, that's not going to make this bigger. How do we make... We'd want to ask our... give it bootstrap stylings, right? That's the next problem. We need to style these and make them a certain amount of size. How does it look on... Okay. Not terrible. Much better. Cool. I'm glad we got that done. Even though we need to style them and make them a little bit bigger. What else do we need to do while we're working on this? So, in our top section, we need a hero button. So, icon section. Yeah. Do we have time to clean all that up? Where we go to our hero and we say let's look at our React bootstrap. We don't want this. We want like a Jumbotron or something. This is a little too much. What do we want? Love to hear in the chat. What kind of section in our hero? Please let me know. It'd be great if you have one that you'd like to see me use, because we need to use some buttons. Pagination, pop over, placeholder. See, your carousel is your standard one, but I don't have... I guess I could do carousel and just remove all the elements and the images and just have the one slide across the top, right? I think we'd want to call these cards too. How's this look? Where the card... Yeah, how about that? Instead of wrestling too much with the homepage, we're going to make some cards out of these sections. Let's do that. Let's make a card. So we start with card. You need to import all of this. Card and buttons. Card and button. Here. Into our icon section. And I think we'll abstract all this away too. Card and button. And then inside of the, we'll take card to card. We've already kind of done that. We'll do one up top right here. Variant card title. We call that technology. And your lorem ipsum. Cut that. You can paste this right here. And your card text and your primary goes somewhere. So you don't need that. And your SRC, I don't know about card image. We wouldn't want that. We just put this font awesome at the top and then get rid of card image. I guess we don't need this extra div right here. Format that, clean it up a little bit, and see how this looks. We don't need that P either. Okay. A little tighter. Still need to make that icon bigger. And I'll go out on a limb here and say that's too much. Lorem ipsum, we're going to trim that up a little bit. Okay, better. If we could get a grip on these two, just real quick, let's go ahead and here. We're just going to grab all that because it doesn't really matter. Card. Everything inside the column, yeah. Everything inside the column. And then learning, community, FA users, because that's what we invoked, and FA book open right here. Control F for prettier, save. FA users called but never defined. Oh, we didn't need to add that. And okay. A little bit better. I don't know if I don't think I like the cards so much as the other just sections. But that's a good stopping point for today. It's a little bit of an improvement. I still think we should get rid of this Jumbotron and find a better section for it. Make these icons a little bit bigger to where they're scaffolded the right way, and also make some adjustments to the CSS. That way these elements come together and fall away the right way on our responsive viewing as we're developing it. But cool, I'm glad we accomplished a few tasks today, both on the website and, of course, knocked out our curriculum. Tune in next time. Tomorrow our lesson is, what is our lesson tomorrow? Oop, zoom out. We've done so much so far, so quick. Making decisions, arrays, and loops. Tomorrow is an introduction to HTML, where we'll have some fun doing some HTML. And I had a good idea for maybe doing a video. There's something like 150 different HTML tags, and they're all pretty simple to run, but 150 of anything is a lot. I mean, so maybe just making like a short video that demonstrates every single HTML element. Let me know if you like that idea in the comments. Be sure to follow me if you get an opportunity. It means a lot. And I hope everybody has a great week. Thank you so much. Happy Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow with an introduction to HTML. Tune in then. Bye-bye.